Public hearing for the Tangipahoa Parish Council for June the 22nd, 2020 will come to order. We have 7 items under public hearing. TP ordinance number 20-13, an ordinance to grant a variance to ordinance 9725, adoption of state sanitary code, and 1913 mobile home placement standards for Derwin James at 11423 James Road in Amite, District 3. Anyone here to speak on that? Okay. Next one is TP ordinance number 20-14, an ordinance placing no parking on shoulder signs on Spinks Lane in District 6 in Tangipahoa Parish in accordance with Chapter 22 Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Article 4, Section 22. Anyone on that? Okay, number 3, an ordinance placing 20-mile-an-hour speed limit signs in Hoffman Court subdivision in District number 10 in Tangipahoa Parish in accordance with Chapter 20 Streets, Roads, Sidewalks, and Drainage, Article 1 in General, Section 20. Anyone on that item? TP ordinance number 20-17, an ordinance placing 15-mile-an-hour speed limit signs on Pecan Grove Drive in District number 2 in Tangipahoa Parish in accordance with Chapter 20 Streets, Roads, Sidewalks, Drainage, Article 1 in General, Section 20. Anyone on that one? Next, TP ordinance number 20-18, an ordinance adjusting the salary of the clerk of the Tangipahoa Parish Council. Okay, next one, TP ordinance number 20-19, an ordinance repealing Article 1 and 2 of Chapter 17 and Chapter 20.5 of the Tangipahoa Parish Code of Ordinances and adopting the following regulations under Chapter 17, Planning and Development. Yes, sir.
I'd like to speak that.
Come on.
Yes.
Ira Brown, 42382 Highway 445 in Ponchatoula. Thank y'all. A lot of hard work's gone into those ordinances, and I recognize that for what it is, a lot of hard work. But I would like to bring your attention to something of very much importance to the fire departments. A lot of the subdivisions, according to the Tangipahoa Parish ordinance, every house is supposed to have 4-inch letters or numbers identifying their homes. I can name a half a dozen or more subdivisions that are completed that have 1.5 to 2-inch numbers on mailboxes that are the same color as the mailboxes, and you can't see them at night. So I ask you to revisit the ordinance and add a requirement. This is the parish ordinance passed in 1998, number 98-19, that requires 4-inch numbers. So I'd like y'all to revisit the ordinance and add that to the one in question, because we cannot find the subdivision, we cannot find the houses at night. We just cannot do it, and there's no street lighting. So some of these houses, even if you put the 4-inch numbers on the houses, they would have to have some kind of illumination to them, not just reflective, because you can't go down the house or the road in the middle of the night shining your lights trying to find somebody's houses, because then they're going to call the police on us. So please look at that. I appreciate it. The second thing is, I'll quote the section for you. Section 17-6.1, paragraph A, subparagraph 2 on the fire hydrants. In the proposed ordinance, it mentions the American Water Works Association as the different color coding for the fire hydrants. Now, I talked to Property Insurance Association of Louisiana this morning, their representative, and yes, PIAL does recognize AWWA and the National Fire Protection Association, either one for hydrant color code marking. And that's, the color codes determine how much of it, tell the firemen how much of a flow of gallons per minute the hydrant has. I spoke to the chiefs in the parish, and of those chiefs that paint their hydrants, the majority of them, including myself, use the National Fire Protection Association color coding. And the reason we do that is because AWWA has a 3-color coding system, and the NFPA has a 4-coding color system, which gives the fire departments more knowledge, more information when they pull up to a structure fire or a vehicle fire, or whatever it may be, to identify which hydrant has what flow. So I would recommend that we adopt the, instead of American Water Works Association, we adopt the NFPA color code. Now, it may not seem like a big deal, but when you have over 300 different fire hydrants, and just or close to 300 in my coverage area alone, that's a lot of fire hydrants to go back and repaint the bonnets and the caps. So I'd really like for y'all to revisit that. And while we're on the hydrants, the parish ordinance, proposed one, says that the fire hydrant barrels will be chrome yellow. I agree with that 100%. Now, personally, I've painted over 100 fire hydrants since last year because they were red. Understandably, people think fire hydrants are red. Mm-hmm. But you can say a developer comes in and he's going to put hydrants in, he can order yellow or red. If you stipulate that they order the yellow as the ordinance suggests they be painted, that would save the fire departments a lot of time and effort and money buying paint to have to go back and paint every red fire hydrant in a new development, painting it chrome yellow. So I'd ask y'all to look at that as well, please.
Chief, could you send us those?
Yes, I provided.
Send me as chairman of the committee and Mr. Bruno, and we'll address those.
Okay, I can give them to you now if you want.
It's up to the council, but I'm just saying, it seems like to me reasonable stuff.
Okay. What do you want? You want the codes?
Yeah, whatever you're recommending here, the 3 recommendations, just kind of send it to us in writing so we have it, so we know.
Okay. Here's the ordinance if you want that for the numbers, addressing.
Just send it to me. I have the numbers here. I have the ordinance in front of me.
Okay. Okay. And I'd ask that once a subdivision receives their final approval, the final, mind you, that the respective fire chief in that area, and I'm sure Dennis Crocker can do that for us, that we would receive a full-size plat so that we can go into our database and our reporting system, listing the streets, listing where the fire hydrants are, so that we can educate the firefighters on approach to the subdivision, into the subdivision, where the hydrants are, and we can, because we can get those on the app on our phone, where the hydrants are located and the street names. So I appreciate that, and I would really like to see that take place, please.
Can you put that on your list, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, G.
Okay. And the last is TP ordinance number 20-20, an ordinance placing 25-mile-an-hour speed limit signs and slow watch for children signs on Wesley Road in District 4 in Tangipahoa Parish in accordance with Chapter 20 Streets, Roads, Sidewalks, Drainage, Article 1, and General Section 20. Anyone on that? Okay, all of these items will be taken up. We have 2 items. Is Jim Ryan here? That we have to read at the public hearing, and I'll turn that over to Jim Ryan, who is our bonding attorney. And Jim, you can handle those 2.
Pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 4219.1, notice of consideration of action regarding sales and use tax. Notice is hereby given that the parish of Tangipahoa, state of Louisiana, will meet on Monday, July 27th at 5:30 p.m. at the Tangipahoa Parish Courthouse Annex at 206 East Mulberry Street in Amite, Louisiana, at which time there will be consideration of action regarding the renewal of the levy and collection of a 1% sales and use tax for a period of 4 years, to be dedicated and used exclusively as follows: 25% of the proceeds of the tax to be used to pay the cost of the operation of local government, and 75% of the proceeds of the tax to be used to fund the parish road and bridge fund in order to pay the cost of road and bridge maintenance and improvements within the parish. Pursuant to Revised Statute Louisiana 4219.1, notice of consideration of action regarding an ad valorem tax. Notice is hereby given that road lighting district number 3 of the parish of Tangipahoa, Louisiana will meet on Monday, July 27, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. at the Tangipahoa Parish Courthouse Annex at 206 Mulberry Street, Amite, Louisiana, at which time there will be consideration of action regarding the call to an election for the levy and collection of an ad valorem tax dedicated to providing and maintaining electric lighting on the roads, streets, highways, alleys, and public places within the district.
Jim,
Thank
are
you,
we
Mr.
going to
Chair.
need any action in the meeting? Do we have?
No,
do we have
no, that's it.
nothing?
There's no vote, no
This is
motion.
all
I
you
think.
need until the next?
That's it. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank y'all. Be safe.
Everyone's aware of what that is. That's the sales tax and dental lighting district. Okay, that'll conclude the public hearing. We'll adjourn the public hearing and we'll go straight to the regular meeting. Regular meeting of the Tangipahoa Parish Council for June 22nd, 2020 will come to order. We'll have invocation by Mr. Lewis Joseph and pledge of allegiance by Mr. John Ingraffia. If everybody will please stand.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings we receive. We thank you for our health. We thank you for our strength. We thank you for our peace of mind, our families, and our friends. We ask that you bless all those families who have been affected by COVID-19 and those that have gone on to heaven. May their souls rest in peace. Protect the families that are left behind. Pray that they may be saved as well. We ask, Lord, that you protect all of our first responders, military personnel, firemen, police officers, all those people, men and women, who put themselves in harm's way so that we may enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy today. Lord, we ask that you give the leadership and bless this meeting. Give us the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding to not only make sound decisions for people we represent, but to make sound decisions that are pleasing in your eyesight. And Lord, if we leave this place but never your grace, we ask that you give us safe guidance on our way back to our various abodes. These blessings and all blessings, we will always ask in your darling Son, Jesus Christ's name. And all those within the sound of my voice responded by saying, Amen. Amen.
All veterans and active military, please render the proper salute.
Pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Mr. Ingraffia.
My pleasure.
Secretary, call roll, please.
Mr. Forrest?
Present.
Mr. Grafton?
Present.
Present.
Yes.
Here.
Here.
Mr. Wells?
Here.
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 Okay, motion passes. If you have cell phones, beepers, or anything, I'd ask you to turn them off or mute them at this time, please. Adoption of minutes of regular meeting dated June 8th, 2020.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Forrest, second by Mr. Wells. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Public input. Anyone wishing to address agenda items which were not on the public hearing? Already got those list of names here, so we can move on from that one. Parish President's report. Mr. Miller.
Good evening, and I hope that Ginger Tossant's moving this way. First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for having this meeting. I mean, obviously, today shows that there's a lot of folks who are interested in what we have going on, and it's good that we have that. It'd be, I guess, probably make us all feel a lot better if this was the way it was most every meeting, if there was that the citizens of our parish cared so much about everything that we do and each meeting that we have. So we're excited because the only way we get better is to hear from everyone, and the only way that we're going to continue to be the best parish in the state is to make sure that we listen and that we answer our citizens and help all of us have the best parish possible. And our first item on the agenda is the 2020 Keep America Beautiful Cigarette Litter Prevention Program. It's a grant that we were awarded, and Ginger Tossant's here to tell us about that.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are y'all? We received a $2,500 grant from Keep America Beautiful for cigarette butt awareness. So the 4 strategies that we have to do is public awareness, place ashtray receptacles in certain places, and distribute portable auto and pocket ashtrays and educate the public. And we will receive 100 more of the ashtrays and like 500 more of the little pocket ones. So we are going to start out educating our people, and I've already did all the survey of all the places we're going to put them out, and the ashtrays, and then I'll have to go back. But we do have $2,500 to educate, to start educating our people. All right, any questions? You have any questions?
Yeah, I got it.
We're doing stuff in the classroom when we resume class.
Well, yes, sir. I'm waiting to hear that.
So will the cigarette part be a part of the education to the
Well,
young kids?
I will touch on that, which I've already touched on that, but this is strictly for older, like people that are smoking. Which, Mr. Calley, would you like to stand up and tell them that I educated your people? Okay, well, tell them. I've already visited the drainage district and distributed the little ashtrays and all, and they got 2 of them, so. Awesome. That's what we're gonna do. But yes, and to answer the school, I've touched base with the private and I've touched base with the public, and they're just waiting to see what
school they're going
where we gonna start back, or when we gonna start back, or how we gonna do it.
Yeah, you're right.
So, all right, if y'all have any questions, just let me know. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ginger.
Thank you, Ginger.
Thank you, Ginger. We appreciate the work that you do. Item number 2, Camp Shemeckety rental agreement. Unfortunately, we have some legal work that needs to be done on that, so we're going to actually postpone putting that agreement. We do have people who are wanting to rent it, so we think that we need to have an agreement similar to the Arena Event Center.
Want that back on for the next meeting?
Yes, sir. We hope to have it done by then.
Okay.
And then the third item is the financial reports, which you all have a copy of, hard copy, and it's been emailed to you. As always, if you have any questions or comments about it, please get in touch with us, and we'll be glad to answer your questions. And I have one set of little notes. I hadn't done it for a couple of months during the COVID, but we have the job openings is still being advertised. Go Jobs still has jobs advertised on it. Amazingly, we still have 1,246 open jobs advertised to the citizens of Tangipahoa Parish from private and public entities. The average salary for those jobs is $38,612. There's a Go Jobs Career Center on Market Street in Hammond and on Mulberry here in Amite. Both are open and waiting to help anybody who is looking for a job to figure out if they qualify for training or what jobs are available, help them find it, put together resumes to help them start a career. So, any questions? Thank y'all very much.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes. Carlo, if you don't mind, I need to add an item to the agenda.
Yeah, we have the resolution.
Okay.
Mr. Joseph was instrumental in getting I think it's $1 million grant. Is that correct, Louis?
That is correct.
For the sewer for the Velma community that did not have it. There was part of Velma years ago that got it. This is going to be able to finish up that project and get it all done. And Mr. Joseph was very instrumental in following this through and having meetings with the community, and his hard work paid off, and he has received a grant for $1 million. But we do have to pass a resolution tonight in support to allow you to sign off on the paperwork.
Yeah, to have myself and Missy or Jeff sign up on the paperwork to keep it moving. It's something new on the LCDBG grants that there's a resolution has to be passed, but that's for signatures to keep it moving.
It's all right with y'all. We want to add it to the agenda. Motion by Mr. Joseph, second by Mr. Forrest, to add the authorization of the signature for the LCBDG grant. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Okay, Lewis, need a motion.
Some of
Motion by Mr. Joseph.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mayu to authorize the parish president's office to sign the signature cards for the grant for the sewer system for Velma. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
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 Congratulations, Mr. Joseph. And
Very good work.
Thank y'all so much.
And I know you said it, but
Team effort.
I really, there's no doubt that if Mr. Joseph hadn't stepped up like he did, that grant would not have been possible, so he did a great job.
I just want to say I attended the meeting, Robbie and David and Louis. I couldn't have witnessed a group of people who wanted to work harder than that group of people to get that done.
Thank y'all.
And it shows you when you work hard, you know, sometimes your work does pay off, so congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Number 4 is Andrew Whitehurst, Water Program Manager for A Healthy Gulf. Mr. Whitehurst, we got a pretty long meeting tonight. I'm going to ask you if you can kind of keep your comments pretty brief if you can. Sure. We appreciate you being here, but we got a lot of people on the agenda tonight, so if you can make your presentation as brief as you possibly can.
I will. Thank you, Chairman Bruno. I've got a few slides, a few maps from a larger presentation about wetland loss in the Pontchartrain Basin. And my organization has tracked wetland permits from the Corps of Engineers, and all the acre data that you see is pulled straight from the Corps 404 wetland fill applications. And we tracked the numbers of those over 5 years from the Pearl River across to Baton Rouge and then down to St. James. The second map, I guess I'll call your attention to it, looks like this with all the red dots and all the parishes around it. Shows you where Tangipahoa Parish stands in the ranking. That table of data on the right center has got the number of acres filled with wetland fill application permits each year from 2014 to 2018. Y'all's total comes to 168 acres of permit applications filled during those years. The numbers that you see, the small circles are less than an acre fill. The middle circles are between 1 and 10 acres. And the largest circles are between 10 and 500 acres, so small, medium, and large wetland fills. The next slide is just got the two parishes pulled out. You've got St. Tammany and Tangipahoa next to one another, and you can see just a smaller presentation of y'all's data line there with what happened between 2014 and 2018. 168 wetland acres filled, and you can see that they're kind of evenly distributed above Interstate 12 and below Interstate 12 down in the coastal zone.
And our numbers look like they've been dropping pretty consistent for the last 3 years, huh?
Well, the last 2 years, I mean, I don't have 2019. Our analyst says that all the parishes' trends pretty much continued the same way, so you could expect that you're up around 200 acres by now, another 20 or 25 cumulatively.
What's St. Tammany's?
St. Tammany is 1,246 acres. And it's one of the hot spots. There are 3 hot spots where this is happening the most is western St. Tammany, Livingston, and then down in Ascension. You all are between 2 hot spots.
So at Tangipahoa in 2018, we filled 20 acres of wetlands. Is that
20 acres of wetland application applied for?
okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
The next slide looks like this. It's got a piece of land with and without wetlands. It makes the point that an acre of wetlands stores 1 million gallons of water or 3 acre feet. And the point we make with this is that you want to try to keep that sponge as much intact as possible. And I think you all understand that each acre of wetlands filled increases flood risk for local and then for downstream as well.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So if you keep in 85% of the wetlands when you develop something, that would be a good thing, correct?
85% on a site of what size?
400 acres.
That's doing better than they do in Mississippi counties that I analyzed.
Thank you.
The next slide has got a purple area superimposed over St. Tammany Parish, if you can see that. That is the CPRA's 2017 master plan, and that's a non-structural project that covers a lot of the St. Tammany coastal zone and a little bit above it as well, and that identified $1.6 billion worth of elevations and floodproofing and buyouts in that parish. So you all don't have a non-structural plan in Tangipahoa Parish, but you can see at the western edge by the word Mandeville, that vertical line, the purple ends right there. And you know, y'all's coastal zone stretches on over across, and there are similarities and differences in your coastal zone compared to St. Tammany's, but I would ask yourselves, you know, is the importance of elevations on piers, which is what the St. Tammany emphasizes, is that going to become a bigger emphasis in your parish? So in St. Tammany, there are 375 floodproofing needs identified, 4,605 residential elevations, and almost 900 buyouts, and that's what comes to $1.6 billion. So if all that's going on just one parish away, you know, your coastal zone's not that different, but you have different development pressures. I understand that. But the emphasis is on elevations over there in that purple zone. And the next slide speaks to a case study in St. Tammany Parish where there was a coastal use permit for Wrigley's Estates where DNR required elevations in a development project. So within the coastal zone, it's possible for the state regulators to require elevations. And they went ahead and did that in this situation. The next slide has got some brown squares on it. If you flip over, those are the sand and gravel mines up and down the Tangipahoa River. And a lot of those are inactive mines, but those are opportunities for restoration of the floodplain. And sequestering some of the water, managing the water better, higher up in the watershed can help things where the population centers have more flood risk. And the final slide is a picture of mine reclamation up in Fluker. Last picture in the set. You can see that you can identify where Highway 51 is, slightly to the left of the center of the picture. The Illinois Central Railroad runs right next to it, and you can see those long terraces where the gravel pits have been filled in and vegetated. And that's some of the reclamation that's happened in the floodplain along the Tangipahoa River. And when the river gets up, instead of washing straight down and capturing gravel pits, it can go out into those terraces laterally away from the river. And that's one of the positive things that we found that's going on in y'all's watershed and y'all's floodplain. That's, you know, we went around the entire Pontchartrain Basin with these pairs of parishes and looked at them by the number of permits that they've had. Y'all are, you know, you're not in the hot spot zone right now, but you are definitely between Livingston and St. Tammany where things are happening so much faster. It's the first time I've been in front of the parish council in 28 years, so thank you all for the opportunity to speak. And if you have questions.
We'll have some questions I want to ask everybody, but how do we, in your expertise, apparently you've been doing this a long time, but in your expertise, how do you think we're faring? I mean, based on what you've looked at and what we're doing, and how do you feel our progress is?
I'd need to look more at what's happened in the last 18 months. Our analysis stops where you see it stopped. And we need to look at some of the permits that have happened since then to see, you know, where you've progressed to. And So, I mean, I don't have that for you right now.
I'm gonna start down here. Trent, anything?
No, I was just surprised by the numbers. The difference between St. Tammany and us is almost 11 times more. I just didn't realize it was going, that much in St. Tammany, but there's nothing we can do to control other parishes.
That's right. John?
This data, did it come from the Corps or?
It's from the Corps' public notice website, where they advertise each 404 permit on public notice. The Corps doesn't keep this, I mean, they've got it all, but they don't do this analysis. We put together the years with the permits. But it's the New Orleans District Corps 404 permit public notice information.
Mr. Joseph?
I'm good, thank you.
Buddy? I'm good.
You made a statement about houses in St. Tammany, they're requiring them to put them on piers now, or less slabs, basically, for more absorption of the water, correct?
Right, fewer slabs and fewer fill areas. Well, in that one coastal use permit example, that was on piers. That was elevated on piers. That's the DNR did that.
We're just talking about getting them off the ground and leaving the dirt under the houses so it absorbs that water is where we're going.
Right, right.
Mr. Wells? I'm good. Mr. Villa?
No, I mean, it's interesting data. You mentioned the coastal zones over here in St. Tammany. And did you say state required them to build off the ground? Did I misinterpret that?
No, within that purple area in the coastal zone, the state's last CPRA 2017 master plan identified the need for elevations and flood proofing and buyouts. It's unfunded at this point, hadn't been done, but the state quantified it, did the appraisal of the total financial need in order to do that if they get the chance to do it when they get 1.6 billion,
So it's just a need to elevate structures through the hazardous mitigation
Right.
process.
But then,
Yeah,
but
okay.
that area in Slidell, didn't you say DNR required?
That one was a requirement from DNR. That
But the
one,
1 point something billion is.
the Wrigley's Estates was a requirement of elevation.
Okay, thank you.
But the rest was a need that was identified.
Thank you.
Let's go.
So, I think in 2012, Tangipahoa Parish with the state coastal zone had a figure out there, was a few $1 million of having to elevate homes and flood-proof homes here. I think, our parish hasn't been updated since 2012. So, I think it is good that it is stressed that we need to look at that low-lying area. And then also, I was very shocked when I first seen this about some of the abandoned gravel pits where the river can capture that and then move that sediment down the river, which could cause more sediment buildup and then cause some flooding and things like that.
Well, the rivers they remain unstable as they keep getting those capture events in high waters, and they stay unstable. This last picture is an example of trying to stabilize the floodplain around gravel pits, old gravel
Do you know
pits.
about how many have been restored and how many are abandoned?
I don't know the percentages of that.
Okay, I was just curious. Do you know I was told that there's some federal funding out there for gravel mine restoration. Have you heard of any of that?
No, these restoration plans come through DEQ, as far as I know, and I don't know about the federal part.
Okay, I think Scott had told me about it, so I'll double check. But I do appreciate you coming and, giving us this presentation.
Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, Mr. Whitehurst. Appreciate you. Okay, number 5, adoption of TP ordinance number 20-13, an ordinance to grant a variance to ordinance 9725, adoption of the state sanitary code and 1913 mobile home placement standards for Derwin James at 11423 James Road, Amite.
Yeah, that's my district, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Joseph.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ingraffia. Roll call.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
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 Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Adam? Yes. Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Number 6, adoption of TP ordinance number 2014, an ordinance placing no parking on shoulder signs on Spinks Lane in District 6 in accordance with Chapter 22 of Traffic and Motor Vehicles.
That's my district, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Mayu, second by Mr. Ridgestall. Roll call.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgestall?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 7, adoption of TP ordinance number 20-15, an ordinance placing 20-mile-an-hour speed limit signs in Hoffman Court subdivision in District Number 10 in Tangipahoa Parish in accordance with Chapter 20 Streets, Roads, Sidewalks, and Drainage.
That's mine. I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion by Ms. Coates,
Second here.
second by Mr. Vial. Roll call.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgestall?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Todd? Yes. Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 8, adoption of TP ordinance number 20-16, an ordinance to abandon the dedication of 1,722 feet of R&M Hunting Club Road beginning on the west end from LA 1063, Tangipahoa Parish, to the state of Louisiana. That's in my district. Is Wesley here? Did he? I'm pretty sure he had all the paperwork.
I have a question. On this, when they abandoned these roads, are these roads that we had maintenance for years? Do we require them any payback at all? We just abandon them?
We just don't do any more maintenance for the lifetime of the road.
Were you ready for a motion? You need to talk to Wesley.
No, I just wanted to make sure Wesley had it all, but.
Yes, I'll move for you.
Motion by Mr. Ridgestall.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mayu. We're gonna go ahead and vote. I'm pretty sure Wesley told me he had it all, but we'll go ahead and vote. Roll call.
Mr. Ridgestall?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Todd? Yes. Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Vernon?
Yes. Okay, number 9, motion passed. Number 9, adoption of TP ordinance 2017, an ordinance placing 15-mile-an-hour speed limit signs on Pecan Grove Drive in District Number 2 in accordance with Chapter 20 Streets, Roads, Sidewalks, and Drainage. Mr. Joseph?
I'll make, that's
Oh, I'm sorry, that's Mr.
my
Ingraff.
district. I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Ingraff, second by Mr. Joseph. Roll call.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Todd? Yes. Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgestall?
Yes.
Wesley, just for the record, so we get in the record, we got all the paperwork on Hunting Club Road, it's all complete.
Right, everything is, all the paperwork's in line, everything's complete.
Thank you very much.
Carl, let me ask you one quick question. What's the procedure? I have a church where they're really speeding real bad and they want to lower the speed limit. So what procedure we use to get that done?
What are they now, do you know?
I think it's 30 right now.
You can go, is it just the church down there?
Just the church,
You can go to 15 if you want.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, number 10, adoption of TP ordinance 2018, an ordinance adjusting the salary of the clerk of the Tangipahoa Parish Council.
Also move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Wells, second by Ms. Hyde. Roll call.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Todd? Yes. Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgestall?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Number 11, TP ordinance number 20-19, an ordinance repealing Article 1 and 2 of Chapter 17 and of Chapter 20.5 of the Tangipahoa Parish Code of Ordinance and adopting the following regulations under Chapter 17, Planning and Development. We have one person speak. There was a couple of recommendations that's been sent to the committee. Those I don't think will be anything, and there'll be an amendment to this, but this will go ahead and pass these other ones that are included in it. So, do I have a motion?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Vial. Second by Mr. Ridgestall. Roll call.
Yes.
Ms. Todd? Yes. Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgestall?
Yep.
Mr. Mayu? Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Number 12, Adoption of TP ordinance number 2020, an ordinance placing 25-mile-an-hour speed limit signs and slow watch for children signs on Wesley Road in District 4 in Tangipahoa Parish in accordance with Chapter 20, Streets, Roads, Sidewalks, and Drainage. That's in my district. If somebody would make that.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Joseph, second by Mr. Ingraffia. Roll call.
Ms. Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates? Yes. Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Burnett?
Yes.
Mr. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew? Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 13, introduction of TP ordinance number 2021, an ordinance placing four-way stop sign at the intersection of Stafford Road, New Genesee Road, and Provada Lane in District 4 in Tangipahoa Parish in accordance with Chapter 20, Streets, Roads, Sidewalks, and Drainage.
So moved. Since I talked to him.
That's right. Motion by Mr. Risco, second by Mr. Joseph. Roll call.
Ms. Coates? Yes. Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Burnett?
Yes.
Mr. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Number 15, introduction of TP ordinance number 20-23, an ordinance to authorize the parish president or his authorized designee to execute any and all documents in regards to the donation of property listed herein from the Louisiana Land Trust Restore Louisiana Buyback Program.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Joseph.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mayhew. Is Mr. Miller here?
Yeah.
Robbie, you want to say anything about that?
How many years there, Robbie?
It's just a continuation of the program. We were awarded $1.5 million to continue elevations and I'm sorry, that's not it. This one they're giving to us. I'm sorry. It's moving to our possession now, so we have to take care of it. Most of us can be green space. We just leave it alone. It always has to be green space. Most of us can let it grow up and be woods.
And just, if you don't mind, would you just that's the properties that are bought through the flood mitigation program?
It was, purchased with the restore money. People
Get out.
somewhere else, and we tear it all down and leave it as green space.
So it can never be used for construction again?
Nothing else can ever be built on it.
Okay. Everybody got that? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I got a question. Did we pay taxes on that property all that time?
Not us.
Huh?
Not us.
Okay.
We'd just be paying it to ourselves.
Mr. Richard's got a question.
Do they tear their houses down?
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah.
And just restore them just to land?
Yeah.
Because I know I have a few off of Morris Road.
Yeah, this is where the individual, the owner, gets to choose if they want to elevate or spot out. You see, am I right?
That's correct.
Okay.
It's part of the Restore program, and so those individuals that did not have their home repaired, the parish is buying that property and will maintain it as green space.
And that's through federal funds?
That's through federal.
To restore
The
act.
2019 list, Missy, any idea when that's going to be released?
2019 elevations.
Either that or the buyout.
Okay, the 2019 FMA grant was not funded.
It was not funded.
We found out this past week.
I have another question. If a neighbor wants to buy the property, just expand their property, it's never for sale?
No, sir, we cannot sell it to anyone.
Yeah, because they can go back to jail.
No, because
It would make sense.
They say they ain't gonna never have a name.
Probably be happy with that.
Yeah.
Roll call.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ron.
Right.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Burnett?
Yeah.
Mr. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yeah.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates? Yes. Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Number 16, introduction of TP ordinance number 20-24, an ordinance to grant a variance to the Tangipahoa Parish subdivision regulation setback requirement for lot 34 and 35 of Milan Village subdivision in District 8. Ms. Bridget?
No, that's actually mine. That's actually mine, yeah. There's two lots.
Okay, you got it.
I'm just saying that was.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
There's two lots in Milan Village that, they have a drainage lateral runs across the back. Actually, part of the property's on the other side of the drainage lateral. This just allows them to build 20 feet off the road rather than 25. And there were no objections. I talked with the Community Development Office, and they had no objections to it. So I also move.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Vial, second by Ms. Hyde. Roll call.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Did we
Motion passed.
skip one of the,
If y'all don't mind,
Yeah.
we got 3 little bitty short ones, and the number 19 is gonna be the one that takes up the time, so let's just go ahead and knock those out, and we'll just have the big one to be able to deal some time with. Number 18 is introduction of TP ordinance number 20-26, an ordinance to authorize the Tangipahoa Parish Council, parish government to accept the donation of immovable property from TPI Properties, LLC, care of John Pate on Old Covington Highway, and to authorize the parish president or his authorized designee to sign any and all documents and record to acceptance of the aforementioned donation.
There's a request to table on that. We have some legal work that we have to finish up on. So,
Mr. Vial,
Table.
the legal counsel knows that this has to be in ordinance form, is that correct?
Yeah, I had that discussion with Joe, I don't see Joe Thomas, but yes.
Okay.
Okay,
We have
yeah,
a
I'll
motion,
forgive
we
you.
have a motion to table until the next meeting by Mr. Vial,
Second.
second by Mr. Mayu, roll call.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchell?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates? Yes.
I think we skipped 14. Did we not?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
Went from 13 to 15.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
Introduction of TP ordinance number 20-22. I thought we did that one. We didn't do it? Placing 20-mile-an-hour speed limit signs on April Lane in District 2 in Tangipahoa Parish in accordance with Chapter 20 Streets, Roads, Sidewalks, and Drainage. Mr. Ingraff?
I'll make that motion.
Motion. Second by Mr. Forrest. Roll call.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchell?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Number 19, Noise Ordinance Committee. I know Mr. Miller, and I've had a couple of people, and I'm sure all of y'all have had someone call and complain about noise, and we do not have an ordinance.
Yeah.
Several years ago, the ordinance got thrown out of federal court. It was deemed unconstitutional, but I guess it's about time we probably try to start it again. I'm going to ask Mr. Mayu if you would chair that committee.
Yeah.
Do I have any volunteers to sit on the committee to try to draft a noise ordinance?
This is a tough one. We've been through this before.
Yeah, we have.
This is the same dance.
And it
just a
came
different
down to
day.
the problem of how do you measure it, where you measure from.
I have a suggestion, and I'd like to ask Mr. Miller, you know, when I looked into all this stuff a while back, and we go right back to what y'all talking about.
Yeah.
Now, would y'all be willing to fund training somebody in code enforcement to operate these noise devices? Because that's the problem. The police go out, and if they're not qualified and certified, they can't say, well, then the noise was
Typically-
specifically from that individual on a music box or whatever it is.
Well, obviously, if the council's wish is to tell us we have to do that, then we do that. Because y'all make the laws, we administer them. I will point out, though, that the code enforcement typically doesn't work 24 hours a day. They're daytime. And most of our noise ordinance complaints, or noise complaints, excuse me, because we don't have an ordinance, are in the evenings and at night. So it would drastically change how our code enforcement works. Typically, the police are going to be, the sheriff's office will be the ones, in our case, that would be enforcing it. But again, if y'all would wish us to do that, we will have to figure out how to do it.
Well, that's where we go back to getting started. When I talked to the sheriff, he said, you know, I don't want to spend the money to have the deputies, you know, certified, because that's what it's going to take. And so maybe we'll start throwing it around and see what we
As an amateur lawyer, it sounds like disturbing the peace typically should work, right?
Yeah, so legal jump on.
Mr. Bruno, in your law experience?
Well, I thought we had a really good ordinance until it got challenged, and I mean, we didn't get beat, we got pretty well whooped, you know? It was in Buddy's district at the old skating rink.
And I understand, I mean, the citizens that call, and I've had email exchanges with several, I've had long phone conversations with several, and, you know, and I tell them that, and they say, well, they have them in other places. So the only thing I can tell you is I guess they were never challenged in other places, because from what I understand, I wasn't here then, from our folks that have been here a while, are very clear that it wasn't even barely considered. I mean, the argument was done and boom, it's over.
See, and the big thing was, the resident calls and says there's loud noise. Right. Well, then the deputy pulls up and he's got the meter. If the noise cuts out, he can't give them or write them up for what happened before he got there.
Right, because it didn't happen.
So it's one of those situations, it's almost like, you know, there's really nothing you can do, and I know the sheriff's office is frustrated with it, because all they can do is go out and tell them, look, pipe it down a little bit, and as soon as they leave, it goes right back up. But I'm gonna leave that up to y'all if y'all want to give it one more stab, and we see what we're gonna do.
Couple comments.
Yes, sir.
We did one with the city of Hammond when I was on the city council. We lost in court there. But the other thing, I think some of the communities are approaching it through a nuisance perspective. Not necessarily noise, but a more general nuisance ordinance that has been fairly successful in different places. So it's a little bit of a different approach than just the noise because of the decibels and because of this and because of that. They have approached it through a nuisance type ordinance.
And we'll be glad to help find other places that it's in place and see if it's applicable, if it gets challenged. I mean, that's the real.
I got the big boom.
There's somebody booming outside right now.
There you go.
All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna appoint a committee. Since we didn't have any volunteers, that's your unlucky day. Okay, so we're gonna have Bridget, Joey, you'll be the chair. Mr. Ingraffitt, you look like a worthy candidate. I think 3 of y'all can probably handle it, and let's say 30 days, and let's see what y'all find. If y'all need more time, we'll go more time.
Okay.
If you come back and tell us y'all hands are, you know,
We handcuffed them.
then we'll have to let it go.
If they arrest us, we'll drop it.
Okay?
All right.
Thank y'all. Okay, number 20, appointment, reappointment to the Tangipahoa Communication District, number 1. This is the appointment that represents Rural Fire District 2, is that correct? Mr. Hodges, does he represent the Rural Fire District 2 board? Dennis?
He's the municipal representative.
He's the municipal.
No, he is representing the rural.
He is representing rural. I want to make sure.
Our sheet says he does.
Huh?
Our packet says he does.
Yeah, packet says rural. That's why the question's out there.
All right. He is eligible for another appointment, but it's been brought to my attention that he is retiring at some point pretty shortly. So I don't have a problem with reappointing him and letting him serve until he retires. But once he retires, I think that needs to be somebody active with Rural Fire District 2. So if y'all want to reappoint Mr. Hodges until his retirement, but I do believe once his retirement is over that we need to have an active person with the fire district to serve on that board. So I don't know how long he's planning on working, if anybody knows that or not. Yes, sir.
You want me to say my name and stuff?
Yeah, go ahead. Who are you?
Huh?
What's your name?
Puddington. I spoke to Jesse Hodges, and he's retiring in 2021. Okay. He did not give me a definitive date, and I've spoken to several of the fire chiefs about this, and although we did, as the Fire Chiefs Association, did not get to take a vote on it, but let me back that up. A lot, I don't know most, I didn't take a tally, a lot are in favor of him, keeping him as a tradition is to get reinstated as a second term, and just like you said, we would have a replacement once he does retire next year.
Okay. Okay. If that's good, we'll add that into the motion.
Fair deal.
That Mr. Hodges will be reappointed, and at the point of his retirement, he'll be replaced with somebody usually that position is recommended by the chiefs. So at that time, we'll get a recommendation from the chiefs on who they want to replace Mr. Hodges, if that's okay. Yes, all right, do I have a motion to that effect?
Carlo, we have another one. Jerry Trevon also needs to be reappointed.
We got two?
Yeah,
I only saw that one.
Gary Trebona was the other one.
Municipal Police.
Who is it, Kristen?
Trevon.
Jerry Trebona, yeah.
Okay. Do y'all want to take them both at one time, or y'all want to take one at a time? Maybe we ought to take them one at a time since we're going to have that stipulation in one. So let's do Mr. Hodges first.
Move on Mr. Hodges.
Okay, motion by Mr. Ristel. Second by Mr. Mayu to reappoint Mr. Jesse Hodges to serve for representing Rural Fire District 2 until his retirement, and at that time the council will take it up to replace him. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Okay, motion passed. And then we're going to take up Mr. Jerry Trebona for the municipal. He has one term left to serve also. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Who's that? Bridget?
Bridget, second here.
Motion by Ms. Hyde, second by Mr. Vial to reappoint Mr. Chief Jerry Trebona to represent municipal on the 911 board. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Appointment, reappointment to Tangipahoa Parish Gravity Drainage District Number 5.
That's my district. I'd like to reappoint Mr. Howard McGee. And we need to put this back on the agenda for next meeting because the paperwork's not done for the replacement for Mr. Rex.
What's his name?
Howard McGee.
McGee?
It's in the packet.
It's right.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Farr to reappoint Mr. Howard McGee to his next term on Gravity Drainage District Number 5. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ingraffia. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, motion passes. The last one is appointment, reappointment to Tangipahoa Parish Recreation District Number 1.
Mr. Chairman, I have that. Mr. Robert Williams, he's serving now, and he's willing to serve the next time, so I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Wells for Mr. Robert Williams. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Coates, roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that takes care of all of that.
Hold on, quick.
Sure, yes, sir.
I have a reappointment for District 1, but I'm still getting some additional information. I'll do it for the next meeting.
Okay, Kristen, we got the one for Trent for gravity drainage and fire for Mr. Joseph. Okay, we're going to number 17. I'm going to read it, and then I've got a couple comments I want to make before we start. Introduction of TP ordinance number.
May I interrupt you, please?
Sure.
We have Mayor Menino here.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to take him at councilman's privilege.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Number 17, introduction of TP ordinance number 20-25, an ordinance placing a moratorium on the consideration and/or preliminary approval through the Planning Commission for any new residential subdivisions with over 8 lots and special use residential commercial developments for a period of 60 days within Tangipahoa Parish identified metropolitan planning area. Okay, I've got a list of people that want to speak. I'm going to let everybody speak, but there's a few ground rules. We are not going to allow any foul language. Any foul language that is, one word, this gentleman over here is going to escort you out. You have 3 minutes to speak. When the secretary says your 3 minutes is up, that's it. We're not a lot of it, I know we're going to hash out the same things. But when the 3-minute period and she notifies me that 3 minutes, I'm going to bang the gavel and your time will be up. So the first person, I think this is Al Barron. Is that, okay, Mr. Al? If you would give your name and address.
Yes, sir.
And then,
I apologize to you coming tonight because normally I would be addressing Mr. Ned Thomas and my employers, the Washington Parish Council and the Library Board of Control. I am a resident of 20060 Morgan Road, Ponchatoula, Louisiana, and I've been there since November of 1999. And in that time, I've seen 4 flood events, most recently the one in 2016. As an undergraduate at the SLU in 1989, I saw a flood event. And when I was a youngster living in Metairie, I remember the May 3rd of 1978 flood. And at that time, Jefferson Parish was called Progressive Parish and growing rapidly as Tangipahoa is now, which you're to be commended on for its growth. I have no issue with growth, but my problem with drainage stems from growth that happens rapidly and development that happens almost haphazardly. Every day I drive Highway 22 and LA 445, and I can tell you, between Hurricane Katrina and now, I've seen more development there than I've ever seen before in my life. Now, I realize that Tangipahoa Parish is 600 square miles, or 800 thereabout, and where I grew up was about 80, but the amount of growth is tremendous. And I can understand the council's reticence on considering such an ordinance because it does bring in a lot of necessary revenue to the area. But I have to ask you, would you consider the moratorium and look seriously at the growth? If we need a drainage millage, if we need other things considered, let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion about it and put it out there. You know, I'll come out of the closet on this. You don't have to worry about it. I'm a Republican. But I do believe in necessary millages where it is appropriate. As I told Ms. Hyde in my email earlier today, I believe, and let's have some solutions. Let's work together and do something. Everybody that moves here, as the people that are like me, the come here folks, we want something more than a 50 by 110 lot. Every week I cut 5 times the amount of grass that I did as a teenager with a push mower, and I'm using a riding lawnmower, and I still can't keep up, but I enjoy it. I just ask you to consider this ordinance and to take a long look at development. Earlier, Mr. Whitehurst talked about St. Tammany Parish. Well, I had friends that lived in Eden Isles and in Madisonville. I worked for the St. Tammany Parish Library when we developed the new Madisonville branch. And it took $3.25 billion in nearly 10 years to get that done. And of course, if you ever have a chance to visit it, you'll notice that it's off the ground. And it was done to meet CPRA requirements. I can tell you that flooding is a severe issue. This most recent event that we faced has given me cause for concern.
Al, one minute.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's really all that I had to say, is that I would ask you to please consider the ordinance. But if you need more money for millage or for drainage, believe me, I'm behind you. And I'm not against development, but I think we need to kind of maybe throttle back a little, but that's just a personal viewpoint. Thank you for your time.
Ira Brown. Ira, you wanted to speak on that? Or this was for the first one? That was the first one. Okay, gotcha. Alton Farby? Mr. Alton, if you'll state your name and address,
I'd like to say that I think that the parish ought to not give out any large tracts of land for development. until they do enough study on watershed, coordinating with the tidal surge of Lake Pontchartrain. It's going to back up when the water dumps down quickly. It's not going to go out. We don't have levees. We don't have pumping stations. We depend on Lake Pontchartrain to do so. Not only that, the Tangipahoa River has been muddied up for probably maybe 3 or 4 years, which affected a lot of fishing and recreation, whatever. I think that you ought to look at that and see if you can consider changing some of this in the near future. I know the wheels are already rolling, but I think they need more study on watershed. Thank you.
Would you give me your address and all, please?
Yeah, 38264 Lee's Landing Road.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Lester Bartwell.
I pretty much dittoed Mr. Farr's report. I've been more or less backing up his.
You ditto with him then, right? Okay. Bert Pearlou.
Yes, sir.
David. Take on the spot for a minute. Go to the bathroom. I just got to go to the restroom.
All right. My name is Bert Pearlou. I live at 40160 Byers Road. My parents' house, their house flooded. It was 40096 Byers Road where they're flooded. But look, I want to say I really appreciate all the work the parish has done with trying to clean out some of these ditches and everything we have in our area. But I'm also asking, just like the other gentleman said a minute ago, about studies. I know that you said something that was talking about the watershed and everything, how much St. Tammany's filling in the watershed. Well, we share that same canal, East Beatico Creek, with St. Tammany. They're building all their houses, all their subdivisions back there. We're building all our subdivisions over here and on the south side of the canal. The water's going to back up. We got too much water, too much volume coming through. Is there any plans, in the works with this moratorium coming up, or hopefully there is, that there's plans in this moratorium that's coming up, that they do the studies and then they actually figure out, we got to fix this problem, If you're going to build a house over here, you got to build a drainage ditch for this house to drain the yard out, right? Okay, so we got this same drainage ditch that's been back there my whole lifetime, and probably your lifetimes also. But, what I'm saying is, if you're going to put a drainage ditch in, you need to build a big enough drainage ditch to get that water out. And if you got to work with St. Tammany Parish to help with this, get this out, because they got to dig out their side of the canal too. They need to dig it out. They need to put bigger levees up. They need to dig it out. The water, when I went out there and we checked the depth of the water off Beatico Creek Bridge, it was over 19.5 foot of water. Those banks ain't but about 8 foot high. You got some spots, that's 10, 12 foot high on these banks. But from the bottom of the creek, standing in the creek to the top, it's 8 foot tall. That's where that water's going to flow out of there. So, with my thoughts, it seemed like common sense. You dig the ditch a little deeper, you could handle 19 foot of water. If you did have to dig it another 10 foot deep to handle that, you dig it out. If you have to widen out 5, 10, 20 feet, then you do that to handle the water. Because it's only going to get worse. The more houses they put in, it's going to happen. They've already got lands all developed up. You got that on the south side of 22, it's built up 10 foot higher than the Highway 22. You got to work something with the drainage. Drainage board's got to get out there and they got to figure out. You need to get some plans, some engineers out there and figure out what can we do to handle this volume of water coming down this canal. Because that's about all I got to say in a nutshell, gentlemen and ladies. Like I said, I appreciate everything y'all done. But even that, y'all clean those ditches out, y'all did a great job on that. But you got to remember, we still got these other ditches that go across them woods that goes to them canals. That's like this with trees and everything growing in the middle of them. They got to be dug out too. I appreciate the work that y'all trying to do, and especially Bridget, Pam, y'all, John. I appreciate everything y'all trying to do. If y'all can, please vote yes on that moratorium, because, God, we need it bad. We need something, at least. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fairley. Jeff McDaniel. Mr. McDaniel, if you'll just state your address and all.
Sure, Jeff McDaniel, 27116 Highway 22, Ponchatoula. Right there in the dip I'm the house that's behind all the development right there that I'm having so much trouble with the guy back there. Still having huge issues with him. And still got mud in my yard. Still got it hadn't changed a bit since the last time I stood up here. But I'm just here to, hopefully y'all can, I mean, they come by the house and worked on some drainage there too, as far as cleaning culverts and stuff like that out. That's a plus. But I'm hoping we can do something about it and delay this stuff some, because financially, what are we going to gain financially from this? I know that our taxes are cheaper over here. It's cheaper for them to live in, somebody from St. Tammany Parish live in a house here that's cheaper. But as far as them spending their money, I'll say this to the parish president, they're not spending their money here. Follow them. Watch them in these neighborhoods. They leave out of them neighborhoods and they go straight to Mandeville and Covington and across the lake. Where they're working at, that's where 90% of their money gets spent. Some of them don't even know where Ponchatoula's at. So that money's not ending up here. It's not ending up here. I mean, you may get some tax money out of it, but as far as the other money, their kids play ball over there, you know, that they do their sports over there, they're not participating in Tangipahoa Parish at all. I bet you 90% of them. But anyways, just please say no to it for 60 days. And let's get some development. Let's look at a study just to try to get the drainage better. And as far as my builder goes, I mean, I'm putting a face to your decisions. I mean, I know it had to come through here to get that neighborhood approved. Well, here's your face right now. I'll tell you the same thing. I spent the entire week, Sunday, we had the storms blow in there, and we never got a drop of rain, but we had a lot of high winds. I had so much dirt and dust coming across my property, you couldn't even go out in my yard and breathe. I mean, and so I'm living it every day, y'all's decision to put that neighborhood behind me. I mean, I sympathize with everybody that flooded, but here's your face to it. Every day I live it with this guy. Now I'm having an issue. He built a wall behind my house. He's got the dirt up so high. Now his wall's falling over. It's literally listing toward me. It's listed up against a fence that I built to try to get, you know, to try to at least cut the eyesight of some of this out from behind my house. I'm trying to build a fence. Now it's on hold because I'm in a dispute with him about that. But his whole wall's turning over right now on me. And you know what he's done about it? Nothing. Nothing's been, because he don't care. Adam Henning, I'll go and say the name. I mean, y'all know the guy. The guy don't care. I mean, he could care less about anything that, any kind of way my family's been put back or anything. He could care less about it. So, like I said, it puts a face to the decisions that you make. I mean, that's all I've heard is yes, 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 all the way across the board tonight. Boy, y'all know no. There's a no. But, like I said, that's all I've heard is yes, yes, yes. And we need to back away and really look at this right here because people are being affected over there. So, thank you. Appreciate you.
Don Marshall.
Don Marshall, 28463 Grasshopper Trail. I live in one of the subdivisions. I live in Beatico Meadows. And the parish has done, they did great cleaning out the ditches on Fire Tower and CC and Byers and Trano and all of them areas. Y'all done a great job, and the parish done a great job with that. We really appreciate it. My subdivision is on a 10-year drainage plan, and it was done long before this council, this administration. I think it was actually approved pre-Katrina. It's on a 10-year drainage plan. And there's been a lot of progress made since then by this council and previous councils. But and I support the moratorium, but if we're going to do a moratorium, I think it's important that y'all let us know what's the purpose of it and what are we going to look to get accomplished. One of the things I would like to see is that y'all have done a lot, and we've gotten a long way between the council and the parish, but there are other areas across this country, and I can tell you one of them right now is in Florida, just outside of Bay Lake, in Orange County and Osceola County. They're one of the top 3 fastest growing areas in the entire United States. They're putting up subdivisions faster than we're putting up 3 or 4 of them. They're putting up 2 and 3 as fast as we're putting up a half of one. And they're in the middle of a swamp. They're not flooding. They're not flooding. What are they doing right that we're not doing? If we're going to do this moratorium, I would encourage y'all to send some of our top people in the floodplain and the drainage in the different areas to see what are they doing that we're not doing, and will it work here? It may not work here, but I think if we're going to take a 60-day moratorium, and I support that, I think it's important that we go look outside of our own area and find out if they're doing things elsewhere that we're not doing that might help us in this area to prevent the flooding. Thank y'all for y'all's time.
Thank you, Don. Okay, last person is Howard Schwam. State your name and your address, please.
Yeah, my name's Howard Schwam. I live at 24322 Harvey Levine. I think you're all pretty much familiar with me and my little sign right there. You know, I sat here and I listened to a lot of things, and I understand what you're going through, and I hear everybody, you know, apologizing or thanking you for going and cleaning the ditches, but that's something you're supposed to do anyway. And really it is, when we're all here talking, and you may have to use the bathroom, but it's disrespectful to leave when these people are all here talking. You should be listening to what they got to say.
I'm a grown man. If I want to go to the bathroom.
Well, I understand that. I understand that. But hey, maybe I had to go too. I understand.
But you don't know my reason for going. You don't know my help.
I take stuff that makes me pee too.
Stay to the point.
I'm going to.
Because you tend to want to get off and rag everybody.
Okay.
I'm not going to listen to it tonight.
Last time when I spoke to you, you said that you worked in the refinery, didn't you?
I did in the past.
Okay, you did in the past. And all of y'all had other jobs other than what you're doing right here. You were all elected here. Hell, you might have drove a bread truck. I don't know. You might have been an engineer. You might have worked in a clothing thing. You only go by what people add to what has to be done. And by the way, did you run the calculations for me? Oh, you're still working on it. So, and how long are you going to work on it? Because I told my wife, you were the one that told me you were, and just walking off right there. I mean, you understand that?
Listen to me.
You understand?
Listen to me.
What am I doing wrong?
Stick to your problem. We don't want you to.
Stating my problem.
It's not about who works where or what somebody. Nobody comes out.
You told me a man.
Listen to me. I'm talking. If you don't want to listen to me, you can go out that door.
Go ahead and start my 3 minutes over?
Sir, take him out. Take him out.
What am I going out for? What am I leaving for? What am I leaving?
This is 3 times we've dealt with him, and it's 3 times the same thing. Take him out.
For?
Out.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Because I've asked too many questions?
No, because you ask stupid things. That's why. Out the door. And you will never get another chance up here unless you learn how to behave yourself.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah, well, go talk to somebody that wants to listen to you, because I don't. Well, you had 3 times to speak. Jesus Christ. Somebody like that ruins everything for everybody.
I'm telling you.
There's nobody on this council or in that administration office that doesn't want to help y'all.
Yeah.
But there's nothing gets done overnight. If any of y'all can tell me that the problems that y'all are having are going to get taken care of overnight, please tell me how we're going to do it. Because I've been here 30 years and we've been doing this for 30 years working on that problem. We're trying. We're meeting. Most of y'all don't even know this. There's a committee that includes Bridget, Mr. Vial, Mr. Mayu, Mr. Richtel, myself, and Mr. Ingraffia. We meet every single Wednesday or every other Wednesday discussing how we're going to help y'all down there and what we can do to change things. We don't advertise that. That is our job to do that. I don't want anybody to leave here tonight not believing that this council does not want to help y'all. We do want to help y'all. But, you know, I really take it personal when somebody says we haven't cleaned the ditches in 20 years. We can show you records of the ditches that we've cleaned. No, sit down. I'm talking right now. We have cleaned ditches. We have debrushed things. But y'all have to understand one thing. We cannot go out if a canal is 8 foot deep and dig it 40 foot wide and 20 foot deep. The Corps of Engineers dictates to us what we can do. We can send in a permit, which we just did on Yellow Water Creek, to have it just to go in and dig out the sandbars and everything, and we were told no. I don't know why, but it's almost like the federal government would rather people flood than allow you to dig ditches to let the water go out. We can only do what the law allows us to do, and we're doing everything that the law allows us to do. Now, can I tell you that we've made some mistakes in the past? You absolutely right. I will take full credit for some of the mistakes we've made in the past. But we're not doing these things intentionally. I mean, every situation is a different situation. And we're trying, we're doing the best we can. And believe me, I don't want to see one of y'all have to take the furniture out of your house or rip the carpet out of your house. When I hear those stories, it tugs at me. I don't want to see that. And we're doing everything that we possibly can. This council, that administration, if we could correct this overnight, we would have done it 100 times over. But I'm just letting y'all know, we're not forgetting y'all. We're trying. And we're going to continue to try until we make it better. But I just want to make one point, and then I'm going to shut up. No matter what we do from this point on, we may correct everything, but the people that are flooding down there now, nothing we do from this point on is going to help those people. It's just not going to help. Because what has been done in the past is what's causing those people to have the problems they have now. So all we can do is try to make things better for the future. And that's what we're trying to do. But we're trying to do it in a way that we don't make the same mistakes we did in the past. And the way you do that is you take your time, you listen to the experts, you get the right advice, and hopefully these people are telling us what we need to do. But we're willing to do whatever is possible to help y'all.
Which makes the need for the moratorium.
Well, and that may be the case. But the thing about it is, don't leave here tonight thinking that anybody on this council, because these are all good people and so is that administration, that they don't want to help you, because we do. Ms. Hyde?
I'm just going to say that I think we have made a lot of good improvements. We've had several meetings, like Mr. Bruno said, with our regulations committee. We've had some good discussions. My only concern is that we do not let another Choctaw Ridge come through before we can make some changes. That's why I'm asking for the moratorium. You know, we're buying out houses, spending millions of dollars because those houses have repetitively flooded. Why would we build houses back in an area we know are going to flood? 10 years down the road, are we going to be buying out those properties and making them green space? Those are the kind of things I think we need to look at. I'd like to thank Robbie. Several of the people who have sent me emails made a comment and said the only person that responded to my email was Mr. Miller. So I appreciate that you do read those and that you do respond to people and at least give them some kind of an answer and let them know that you care, because it does mean a lot to them. I've had a handful of people email me. I printed 15 of the emails and I got more on my phone after I left my house today. I had 3 people that opposed. Everyone else was in favor of this. That's what I was elected to do, represent those people. So and I said that I would represent the people no matter how I personally felt. So if I had had 50 emails that said, I don't want this moratorium, and 2 that did, then I would go with the people and not my personal feelings. But the only 3 people that opposed it were from the No More, the North Shore Home Builders Association. So with that, I'm going to introduce, make a motion to introduce the ordinance. It's number 20-25, as amended to only include the area south of I-12.
Okay. We have a motion by Ms. Hyde. What we're going to do, we're going to just strike on this ordinance here the Metropolitan Planning Commission, and it will say that all area, is that correct?
Yes.
Below Interstate 12?
Yes.
All area below I-12. Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Can I make a couple comments?
Well, we got to get a second.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, second by Ms. Coates. Okay.
So I kind of just wanted to give a little bit of information of why I support this. You know, I am also on the south end of the parish. And I think there needs to be some new regulations in place. Because our flood maps are dated from 2010, okay? So 2016, everyone knows we had 2 historic floods, and then recently we just had another one. Well, in 2017, FEMA did a resiliency study, and on the FEMA site, it says that the assessment that they did in 2017 was based on current conditions and is informed by readily available land use data, providing valuable flood risk information for a number of streams that are currently not included in FEMA's flood inventory. This effort provides flood hazard data for the 1% annual chance of flood event, and it could be used for local planning and development and in advance of the firm update, because we're still waiting on new flood maps. So I want to give you a little bit of information from this study. So in the Tangi watershed, the Tangipahoa River watershed, in 2017, there was 17,551 residential houses. 14,000 are outside the flood hazard area. Non-residential, which is commercial and stuff, there's like 1,798, and 1,400 are outside the special flood hazard area. So in March of 16, there was 417 residential homes that got more than 1 inch of water above their finished floor. 200 of that was outside our flood hazard area. There was 127 non-residential and 45 was outside of flood hazard area. So they're in flood zone X. In August of 16, there was 1,400 more with more than 1 inch of water. 752 was outside a special flood hazard area. 275 was non-residential, and 137 was outside that. Over in my area is the Tangipahoa watershed, which includes Livingston, but still, there was 41,000 residential homes, 30,000 are outside the special hazard area. Well, in March of 16, over 900 flooded, and over 400 were outside the special flood hazard area. Same thing, August, there was 4,500 with more than 1 inch, and 2,400 was outside. So there's a trend here. You know, we can't just rely on some of those maps. We have to be more creative. We have to protect people. We have to look at new data. We have to look at updated data. You know, another thing we don't talk about is groundwater protection. You know, so in this study, because it's resiliency, it talks about groundwater protection, and this council is over the groundwater protection. So, you know, it says it is imperative that planners know the locations and conditions of recharging our aquifers. So infiltration of runoff from certain land uses is not desired for groundwater recharge. So there's a lot of things that we need to be talking about and looking at. It's not just, oh, we can build here, we can build there, and, you know. So I support this moratorium because I think we do need to look at a bigger scope and bigger things and make sure that we protect people going forward in the future. And we could have more flooding going forward. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just want to say, look, we do have a lot of things that we have looked at, a lot of things we need to look at in the future. I guess I'm a lone ranger. I'm not going to support the moratorium at this time because I think we need to have a better directional arrow of where we're headed and where we're going. It doesn't have an impact on the construction economy of Tangipahoa Parish. It's got an impact on the, you know, went through a COVID pandemic. Now we're going to go through a financial pandemic. I'm going to continue working hard to try to change things. I have in the past. I'm not going to change that direction. That's exactly what I'm going to do. We actually have a meeting Wednesday. Actually, I think there's 16. Yeah, 16 items that Ms. Hyde had brought up at the last meeting. We're going to look at a bigger group, start talking about that a little bit more. There's been some conversations, and we have more conversations about that, about bringing in someone to help us, a consultant, Ms. Dana Brown or her group. That was kind of the conversation. I'm not sure if where that's going to land. We're going to do that, and I'm going to continue working to make things better. I just don't think a moratorium at this time, 60 days, is not going to buy us. I don't think it's going to buy us anything, to be honest with you. But, you know, it's up to the council.
You finished, Mr. Villa?
I'm done. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Wells?
I'm going to support the moratorium. You know, after listening to the residents and the length of it is just 60 days, so I'm gonna be in favor of supporting the moratorium.
Okay. Mr. Mayu?
I'm gonna support this moratorium, but I want everybody to know it. You know, in 16, I took 5 foot of water over Livingston Parish. It came from the north, the rain. The other day we had the rainfall. We had 16 inches over to BDCO, 8 inches in my area on the west side of Shadow Creek. I rode down 190 from Sanderson Farms to Albany Line, and everybody had water in their yard about to go in the house. So when it comes to 8 inches of rain, 10 inches of rain, 16 inches of rain, the only thing we do is pray God will make it stop. But when you get that much rain on one area, there's no drainage on earth that's going to solve it. Now, I am going to be for this moratorium, and I hope that we find the answers and the solutions and the core, whatever it is that we can do to resolve these problems, because nobody needs to flood. I've lived right there on Crapperdown Road, and I've seen water go in my mom's house and my dad's house numerous times. The railroad tracks a levee. We would argue with the railroad, dig more drainages. They never did. So we just continue to flood. My business, the other day, we had water in my business the other day, 8 inches of rain. So everybody got to keep in mind that when we get those type of rainfalls, they warn you, flash flooding. So all we can do is hope and pray that it just don't come in our home. It can happen in BDCO, it can happen in Albany, it can happen in Greensburg or Gatlinburg. It doesn't matter. And when you get that type of rain, it's going to affect people. But I am going to be for this moratorium, and I hope that we get a plan together to solve all of y'all problems.
Mr. Richmond?
I don't know what I could say that hadn't already been said, Carlo.
Okay. Mr. Joseph?
I understand where they're coming from, Carlo. As you know, I had 18 inches of water in my house in 16.
Yep. Mr. Ingraff?
I like what Joey said.
Mr. Forrest?
I'll support this moratorium because it's 60 days. So I hope that y'all can get together and come up with some solutions sometime in the next 60 days.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I just, like to apologize to the council and the audience for my reaction to what the gentleman said. I kind of lost my cool, but I don't think any person can, know what lining I have to do or regulate my body. And when I have to go, I have to go. And you can check my record. I've been here for all the council meetings. I attend I'm very attentive at the meetings. And I'm very concerned about the people. If I was not, I would not be sitting here.
Agreed.
Well, I'm going to be just the opposite.
Well, you went.
I'm not apologizing. I have listened.
I didn't say to the.
I have listened to that guy for the third and the final time. And his whole objective is, it's not about, it's not about the problem down there. It's about who he can put down on. And that's not going to solve anything.
So I still feel the same way toward him. But I just wanted to apologize to the people if I said anything out of context.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any questions? I ask the secretary to call roll. Now listen, to the general public, this is just for introduction. If this passes tonight, it goes on the agenda for 2 weeks, in 2 weeks to be voted on for the 60 days to start. So this is only to put it on the agenda for 2 weeks from now, okay? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yeah.
Mr. Beal?
No.
Ms. Todd?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Graffian?
Yes.
Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
No.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 8-2. This item will be on for public hearing at the next meeting, which will be the 4th, 8th, 13th. So it does move to the next step. It will be on the agenda for the 13th, and at that time it will be voted on. If it passes at that time, the 60-day moratorium will start. Okay? Thank y'all. Okay, beer, wine, and liquor? None. Legal matters? Just for everybody's point of interest, our legal counsel could not be here tonight. His law partner has contracted coronavirus, so he's under quarantine, but he's here in spirit. Councilman's privileges. I've got one.
And I have one.
We have somebody here whose term is ending. He's done a great job for the City of Independence. I'm going to miss him. I've enjoyed working closely with him over the last 4 years. I think he's done a great job, and as they say, you always want to leave it better than when you got there, and I think he can say that. So, Mayor, if you'd like to come up and say a few words. This is Mayor Menino of the City of Independence.
I just wanted to come up tonight and handle talk here and thank everyone on the board for all y'all have done for the town of Independence. All I've had to do was pick up a telephone and make a call. And Carlo, Mr. Joseph, they helped out. I had to call Robbie Sunday because the person you was talking about with tested positive was at our court that night, and he, a lot of people got exposed to it, but we had the building cleaned, so everything's okay. But I just want to thank y'all. Mr. Joseph had, Robbie forgot to put us on the list for the, for the testing. I'm sorry I had to say it, but Mr. Joseph took care of it for you, so he did it yesterday. But I think we had, what, 179 people show up?
166.
Yeah, so we did good. A lot of the people were walk-ins because a lot of people are independents. They don't drive, don't have cars or whatever. So it worked out good. But I'm just here to thank y'all.
Yeah. Angelo, thank you. And
good job,
the
Mayor.
people of Independence should be proud of your 4 years because you made a difference.
Yes. We appreciate what
But
you
I do have a solution to your problem. Y'all can make those people come build an Independence.
That's what I said.
All right, Mr. Wells, you had a councilman's privilege?
Yeah, I do. Mr. Chairman, I think I would like to offer a motion that this council go into executive session for clarification on the personnel matter and also look at the mechanics on how we operate a committee.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Wells. Well, let me find out. Anybody else got a councilman's privilege?
No, we do have a fire board meeting directly after.
Okay, motion by Mr. Wells, second by Mr. Mayu to go in executive session for a personnel committee. Roll call.
Channel 17, proudly serving the Florida parishes.
Second.
Joseph.
Mr. Joe.
Second by Ingraffia. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We have a fire board meeting.